Is it worth the risk to keep on going?
Sure, to win. I mean, that's what we've always done. The money's never been a factor. We raced when we didn't have any.
He was NASCAR's Iron Man, fierce, fearless, and seemingly untouchable. But when Dale Earnhardt Sr. hit the wall on the final lap of the 2001 Daytona 500, the world watched in silence. The crash didn't look fatal. There was no fire, no explosion, just a routine bump in a sport built on speed and survival. But what came next? No one was prepared for. Because inside the wreckage, inside his shattered helmet, and later inside the cold pages of an autopsy report, the truth emerged. And it was more devastating than anyone imagined. The Intimidator didn't die in a blaze of glory. He died in silence. And what the medical examiners found would shake the very foundation of motorsport safety. Dale had raced at Daytona many times before. He knew every curve, every ripple in the track. Daytona wasn't just a place where he won, it was where he belonged. That day, he wasn't leading the race, but what he was doing may have been even more important. His son, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and teammate Michael Waltrip were up front, fighting for the win. Dale Sr. was behind them, running interference. He blocked, he shielded, he defended. He was the guardian of their victory. Then came turn 4. Just seconds from the finish line, Sterling Marlin's car made slight contact with Earnhardt's rear panel. Nothing explosive, nothing even particularly aggressive. But at nearly 160 miles per hour, even the slightest touch can send chaos rippling through steel and rubber. The number 3 Chevrolet veered downward, then snapped up the track. Ken Schrader's car clipped him, and together they slammed into the outside wall. To the millions watching, it didn't look like a death sentence. No fire, no roll, no flying debris. Dale's car hit the wall and came to a stop. That was it. Earnhardt had survived far worse before. But something was off. Ken Schrader, who had crashed alongside him, rushed to Earnhardt's car. What he saw made him step back immediately. His face dropped. He wouldn't say what he saw. Not because he wanted to protect Dale's privacy, but because he knew exactly what had happened. When paramedics arrived, there was no panic, only urgency. They extracted Dale from the wreckage and rushed him to Halifax Medical Center. Fans waited in silence. The pit road fell still. Broadcasters, usually loud and excitable during post-race coverage, spoke in whispers. Something was deeply wrong. At 5:16 p.m., the news broke. Dale Earnhardt was dead. The racing world stopped. How could it be? How could a crash so seemingly survivable claim the life of the toughest driver in the sport? The autopsy answered that question, and the answer was devastating. Earnhardt died instantly from a basilar skull fracture, a catastrophic break at the base of the skull. The injury was caused by the violent motion of his head snapping forward and back with extreme force, something that no helmet, no seat, no restraint system could prevent without a specific device. That device was the HANS, Head and Neck Support System, a piece of safety gear that had existed for years but wasn't mandatory. Dale had refused to wear one. He thought it restricted movement, thought it took away from the feeling of the car. Others agreed, but after February 18th, there were no more arguments. The autopsy also showed broken ribs, a fractured sternum, chest trauma, and a shattered ankle. Some speculated the seatbelt had failed. Others thought it had been cut after the crash. Photos showed a tear. Conspiracies flourished. NASCAR investigated and found mixed accounts. Some believed the belt had broken on impact, while others, including the rescue worker on scene, said it was intact. Whatever the cause, one thing was certain. The fatal blow came from head trauma that could have been prevented with better safety equipment. Dale Earnhardt died not from recklessness, but from physics, and from a system that hadn't yet caught up with reality. NASCAR didn't just mourn, it mobilized. A full investigation was launched. Crash footage was dissected, telemetry reviewed, every inch of Earnhardt's car inspected. Medical reports, mechanical analysis, forensic breakdowns, nothing was left untouched. What they found was grim. The cars had become faster and more rigid, turning into steel missiles on wheels. The walls made of unforgiving concrete absorbed none of the energy during crashes. The safety gear hadn't evolved fast enough. Racing had pushed forward, but safety hadn't kept up. It was a turning point. Within months, NASCAR mandated the HANS device. Seat designs were overhauled to better support the driver's head and spine. Cockpits were restructured, padding was added, harnesses were improved, and then came the safer barrier, steel and foam energy reduction. A wall designed to absorb the energy of crashes, not deflect it back into the driver. By 2007, the car of tomorrow was introduced. It featured a larger frame, reinforced roll cage, energy-absorbing materials, and a cockpit that placed drivers farther from danger zones. Sometimes bruised, often shaken, but alive. And every time someone says, "That's Dale," his death sparked more than technical changes. It changed the soul of the sport. Drivers who once mocked safety gear began wearing it religiously. Teams conducted regular crash simulations. Data became gospel. NASCAR began sharing crash details with the public to build trust and educate fans. Racing became smarter, not just faster. Dale's influence spread beyond NASCAR. Formula One, IndyCar, and other motorsport leagues began collaborating on safety. Barriers improved worldwide. Restraints became more advanced. The ripple effect of that single crash traveled the globe. Even within NASCAR, Dale's presence didn't fade. His son, Dale Jr., carried on the Earnhardt legacy, winning races and becoming a symbol of resilience. Fans voted him most popular driver 15 years in a row. His mother, Teresa, managed Dale Earnhardt Inc., guiding the brand through storms and triumphs alike. The number 3 car became a sacred icon, untouched for over a decade. When it finally returned to the track, it was driven by Austin Dillon, grandson of team owner Richard Childress, with the full blessing of the Earnhardt family. But Dale's legacy lives far beyond numbers or symbols. In 2020, Ryan Newman suffered a horrific crash at Daytona. His car flipped, struck the wall, burst into flames, and he survived. The safety features that saved him were direct results of changes made after Dale's death. That's the legacy. Dale Earnhardt wasn't just a driver who won races. He was the man who made sure others could survive them. He changed NASCAR not with a speech or a press conference, but with a single crash, one that exposed everything the sport needed to fix. His death became the dividing line. Before Dale, safety was optional. After Dale, it was mandatory. Younger drivers who never raced with him grew up watching that final lap. Coaches used it as a teaching tool. Engineers treated it as data. Every seat design, every helmet upgrade, every new wall system owes something to February 18, 2001. Documentaries were made, statues erected, paint schemes dedicated to him ran tribute laps. And every time drivers circle turn 4 at Daytona, there's a moment, a silence, a glance. Because that corner is no longer just a piece of track, it's hallowed ground. The Intimidator may have been silenced, but what he started didn't end with him. It lives in every life saved, every fan who still wears the number 3, every father and son who bond over racing, knowing it's safer now. If this story touched you, like the video, share it with fellow fans, and subscribe for more untold moments from racing history. Dale's legacy lives on, and so do the stories that shape the sport we love. Thanks for watching.